Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Saturday morning, and this is Multifamily Unplugged. Hey, this is where you get your raw, unscripted conversation about multifamily and everything about multifamily. Glad that you're here this morning. Remember, if you're new to the program, go tell somebody else about this. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, buckle up. You're going to enjoy this morning's ride. There's no doubt about that. If you are new, please follow us on social media, anywhere that you get your fix, whether that's LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. You're going to find us. You'll find relevant content. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, smash that subscribe button, and just follow us, because we're always coming live. We're always coming to you with something new, some valid information that's going to help you grow your business, grow your multifamily business, and maybe get some ideas on some things that you haven't thought about yet. Like maybe today, what we're going to talk about. Hey, my guest today, and I'm excited, RJ with EJC Partners right here in Chicago. He is a residential remodeling company that specializes in the multifamily rehab space. So we're going to talk with him. We're going to get some insights on maybe things to look for, doing inspections, things like that. But I always like to start and talk about your intentions, right? So what are your intentions? What are your intentions for the rest of the year? Here we are, a little more than halfway through the year, and can't believe how fast it's gone already. But, what have your intentions been? Have you achieved your goals? Are you ahead of your goals? Are you under where you tried to set out to? Well, let me ask you, are you getting up every day thinking about it? Are you really focusing in on what it should take for you to accomplish your goals? What are those intentions? And I always talk about those intentions when you first get up in the morning. Are you spending time in prayer? Are you spending time in meditation, exercise, gratitude, those things to really key into the day, to get your day started on the right foot? Well, I hope you take the time to think some of that through. I want you to know that we are sponsored today by My Core Intentions. And My Core Intentions has their property management boot camp coming up in August 18th. And, property management is never something anybody wants to talk about. It's not the sexy part of the business, right? It's the hands-on, the grunt work, the everyday things you have to do. So get to this management virtual full one-day boot camp and learn some techniques, learn some systems to help streamline your property management business. If you have comments this morning, throw them in the chat. We'll get those answered for you and try and take care of any questions that you might have. Hey, let me bring RJ in. RJ, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mike. How you doing?
I'm great. You?
I'm doing amazing, as always.
Good to see you. I know that, we see each other a lot on social media and run into each other at some networking meetings. And I'm glad we finally had a time here to connect and do a little networking and bring some information to some other people.
Absolutely. Always excited for that.
Yeah. Hey, RJ. So whenever I start one of these shows, and I've done a number of these already, and I think I'm going to write a book one of these days on this one question. And the same question I ask all my guests is, in one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
I would say passionate. Passionate in my relationships, passionate in the business that I'm moving forward. So no matter what I'm doing, I feel like I put a lot of heart, a lot of intention into it. So I think passionate would have to describe me and my relationships.
All right, great. Have you always been passionate?
Actually, oddly enough, passionate in my relationships, not in business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so passionate in your relationship. So like you're married, right?
That's right.
So passionate with your wife, or, when you were before you got married, and or passionate in friendships and that, or just all around.
So what I mean by passionate is that I like to put my whole heart into my relationships. So what that means is sometimes I put myself out there just to get burned, right? I think the best of people, and I try to build very deep connections with people, whether it's my wife, my friends, my family. So in that regard, it could correlate with honesty, integrity. I show up. I try to be there. I'm supportive. I'm never that guy that says I'll make it and don't show up. So that's what I mean by passionate, because I like to put things that I work on, my relationships, on a higher pedestal than my means. Sometimes it's a detriment to myself. So those are things that now as an adult with family, starting to balance it out, trying to figure out who your true friends are, who those people are that really need to be at that passionate level, versus the people that are just negative energy, maybe time waste. And not to say you can't have those friends, but sometimes you got to distinguish that. And I believe I'm at that point in my life, nearly 40 years old, that I have to start segmenting that.
That's awesome that you have that focus and philosophy. You don't find a lot of people, and I always say, there's nothing like a good substantial conversation. So, it's a little bit better than what the weather's like. So, hey RJ, how about a little background about you and how you got into doing what you're doing today?
Sure. I'll start where the passions really started. And that's after I met my wife. So my wife and I were dating, honestly, 4 months, and she had already semi moved in. And she said, "Hey, I really love our relationship. Where's this going?" And I said, "Hey, I think it's great too. I don't know." She's like, "That's not good enough. If we're going to be together, I need to know that my partner has goals, dreams, ambitions, and doesn't just want to sit around the house, be complacent with the 9 to 5 job. We need to find a passion." So, what we came up with was real estate. 8 months later, we bought our first 3-unit multifamily. That was in 2017. I actually took a hiatus from the corporate world, spent about 7 months rehabbing our unit. We bought something that was very reasonably priced, actually very well priced in Bronzeville, and we took the risk and took the chance.
Nice.
So from there, we've built and grown our portfolio to where now we have about 86, 87 units, couple syndications under our belt, a multifamily personal portfolio on top of the GP partnerships that we have today. And I built a construction company, which is EJC Partners, out of necessity to the real estate investing. And we're in the middle of a capital raise right now, which is for an alternative investment. So our road sort of took us down this winding path. And the thing that I love about real estate, a lot of people ask, how did you get into this? How did you figure this out? You seem so smart about this stuff. And I always tell them, real estate's a gateway drug. Real estate's it's a gateway drug. You get addicted. You start to understand revenue, building a business, different means to make income, whether it's passive or active. And it takes you down this rabbit hole of investors that teach you so much. So that's where I am. That's a little background of the journey and where we're at today.
Nice. So what were you doing in the corporate world?
So oddly enough, I got a master's in accounting. I got a master's in accounting science from NIU. We're a top school nationwide. I went into accounting for about 7 years. Had internships with big 4 mid-tier accounting companies. And then I went into accounting for Jones Lang LaSalle.
Okay.
Second largest commercial real estate services firm in the world. and Golub and Company. Golub has over 10 billion assets under management, and that's really where I got my first taste of real estate. However, I was just cost. I was a cost on that corporate level, and I was trying to get to the revenue side, property managers, etc., leasing, and I kept encountering this glass ceiling. They
Okay.
wanted to keep me in accounting, so my personality didn't call for that, so I went into corporate sales, B2B corporate sales. That's where I met my wife. And I was meeting with Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, meeting with with executive teams, just helping them consult on their business, whether it was marketing, SaaS products, data products, and data marketing intelligence, really.
Okay, interesting. So is your wife in the business with you, or is she still working a W-2 job?
Absolutely. Nikki is with me every single step of the way. We make decisions together. Um, and she is heavily involved in the capital raise, heavily involved with the property management, which you were just talking about, not
Yeah.
sexy. We don't like that aspect of the business. But she does still hold a W 2 job. So she is the stability. She is why we have insurance. She um, has a very prosperous job as a sales rep still. And it's allowed the family to build a business and myself concentrate as specifically that real estate professional.
Nice. So you said you own about 80 units. Are they all residential, like single family, or are they multifamily product?
We only own one single family, and
Okay.
that was a flip. It's currently on the market in Irving Park. But everything else that we own, we don't own anything under a 3 unit.
Okay. Good for you. And now you said you're syndicating a deal now. How big is that one?
So the deal that we're capital raising for, it's actually an alternative investment. It's set up as a 506B. There's no door count. It's straight equity into an operating company. And it's alternative investment. It's a cannabis production facility down New Mexico.
Okay. Interesting. What kind of production facility?
Marijuana.
Oh, cannabis, you said. Okay.
Cannabis. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great. Cool. Good for you guys. So I know that one of your primary focuses is the construction end of it. What are some things that maybe investors should watch out for when they're buying property, and what types of things that from a rehab standpoint should people be looking for, upgrades, things like that?
Sure. The number one rabbit hole that people go down is they over they over rehab their homes, right?
Mm,
Because they're used to a standard of living, which is typically like an A class asset, B plus. They make 6 figures a year and they live in a cushy little condo, but they bought a C class 3 unit and they want to build A class amenities in it. So that goes down the rabbit hole of, why are you doing these things? If you want to maximize revenue, you don't maximize revenue by putting in a $20,000 kitchen when it only calls for a $7,500 kitchen, right? You don't go for the matte black finishes. You don't replace all the doors. You don't replace the hardwood. Really, what people don't understand, and I got caught in this trap too. So when I hear door counts, unit counts, as you know, I'm deeply connected with John Kasman, and I used to hear Kasman's door count, and I used to be like, man, I bet they're all A class, shiny, brand new kitchens, stone countertops. And that couldn't be further from the truth, right? It depends on the asset. So the number one downfall that I see a lot of homeowners doing is they try to over-engineer their home, and then they get mad at the contractor because the contractor builds out. Well, at least for myself, I build out a budget-friendly, value add property that maximizes rents without going over the top. And then throughout the explanation, throughout the talks, throughout the contracting experience, the homeowner has this idea that they're going to get $20 a square foot marble tile. And it's like, that wasn't priced out. And then they start changing the estimate. And it creates this a very disconnected relationship. So I guess don't over engineer your house. Make sure you're very clear and concise on your wants and needs. Be very open to listening to a contractor, especially if that contractor is specialized in what you're trying to do, right? I've had a lot of multifamily owners try to explain to me what they're doing. And, it's their first property. And, I have to be cordial and I have to listen. I try to explain and try to educate. But a lot of these multifamily homeowners in their first properties, they have their own set of ideals and they don't want to listen to anybody else. So be humble.
Yeah, great point. So should somebody call you out before they go to contract on a property to walk a property with them? Or at what point should somebody, lean on you and say, here's how we should do this? Are you ready to skyrocket your multifamily business and see real results in your investing activities? I'm looking for 5 highly motivated individuals who are serious about taking their real estate business to the next level. If you are ready to become a better version of yourself and are sick and tired of wasting time and are ready to explode to the next level, then apply today and see if you qualify for my personal one-on-one coaching and mentoring. Log on to My Core Intentions and schedule a call for a free consultation.
So that's a very difficult aspect of the construction game. I don't know how other contractors do it, but I am very, very busy. So when I do not have a relationship with somebody and they start the conversation with, I'd love to have you out because I want to know if I should purchase this and need your 2 cents. That doesn't get me to come over to your job site because that sounds like a waste of my time. So it's a very difficult aspect. I say you build your relationships with your contractors and you're very transparent with them. Their time is valuable, at least the contractors that are working and that are very busy. So expect to pay a consulting fee if that's what you're trying to do. I've had a lot of people, when I first started the company, a lot of people, I would go to everybody. I'm very passionate about my business, very passionate about relationships with people. So I would give up my time, too much of my time, in fact, and people would take advantage. And that's what I was saying. I'd get burned sometimes. So I can't give you the answer on that because every contractor is going to be different. I could tell you that I give precedence over people that I feel I've built a relationship with, or that I've seen or come to our multifamily meetups, or that have a relationship with me outside of the contracting business. And that's really what will get me out pre-close, right? Or if I've worked with you in the past. But a new investor, contractors see right through it when you say, oh, I'm going to give you so much business. I'm in this for the long haul. This isn't the last, because I've gone through that. And I tell you, 90% of my clients say that to me. And I've only done repeat business with 20% of my clients. So,
well, that goes back to the 80-20 principle, right?
Right.
80% of what we do only produces 20% of our results, and 20% of what we do produces 80% of our results. That's that old Pareto principle.
Exactly.
Which works great in business all the time if you practice it in almost everything you do, right? So,
Yep.
so,
Yep.
so if if you're looking at rehab in a building, and cabinets in kitchens always tend to come up in conversation, right? Do I replace them, or should I leave them and just paint them and put maybe some new pulls on them? What's your opinion around that, and what's the best way for somebody to say, oh, I could leave those or I should get rid of them?
Really, it depends on the underlying cabinets. And it depends on the market in the area. So it's going to be a case by case basis. However, I could tell you that it's very labor intensive to paint cabinets correctly, at least. Because you have to stand it, you have to prime it, you got to get special paint, you got to take off all the drawers, all the hinges, all the knobs. So it's very, very labor intensive. So depending on how large the kitchen is or how old the cabinets are, sometimes it does make sense to just buy new cabinets, and sometimes not. So again, very case by case basis. Where's your asset at? What's calling for the highest rents? Typically in the B plus areas, when you want to refinish these old oak, like, Home Depot cabinets, they slam shut. That's not worth it, because people in those higher medium to higher income levels, they're not expecting those types of finishes, and they wouldn't pay for them either. So again, very case by case.
So you are better off spending a little bit more, putting a new box and door in, a whole cabinet.
And sometimes it's not all that much more expensive. At least back before material prices were raising, it was, maybe a 25% increase from sanding and sanding, from what I would charge for sanding and sanding versus just replacing. That's very high level. I'm not sure if that's even accurate, so don't quote that. But but we have refinished a lot of cabinets, and that's typically in your Bronzevilles, in your Washington Parks. That's down south, that's C, D class neighborhoods that don't call for it. But when you're up in Avondale, Logan, in any of these neighborhoods up north that are experiencing rapid appreciation and high rent growths, you want to replace those to maximize your rent.
Sure. What are some of the things that an investor overlooks when they walk a property? So, I always tell people, hey, don't fall in love, right? Because you walk through, you go, wow, I really like this. I think it'll throw off some great cash flow. And, those are the thoughts that goes through people's minds before they ever even pencil the deal, right?
Yeah.
But what are some things that maybe somebody who doesn't have construction background or construction experience, when they walk a property, they should look for?
So there's three main aspects of a building that I would highly focus on that people don't pay attention to. It's your plumbing, your electrical, and your exterior masonry.
Okay.
For those brick buildings. I've been in multiple 100-year-old buildings that have the old cast iron. They've been cast iron for 100 years. We touch the plumbing, and all of a sudden the plumbing stack crumbles and you have to replace it. Galvanized pipe, when it comes to the supply, you got to imagine that galvanized pipe, it gets built up with sediment. So if you think of a clogged artery and how you have a heart attack, that's how galvanized pipe acts when it comes to the mineral deposits inside the galvanized steel. So I can't tell you how many different times that the water pressure issues, the drain issues, etc., lead to a full-on rehab of the plumbing, and that's costs that you just don't expect. So Focus on assets that have copper supply lines and PVC plumbing. Electrical, look for the fuse boxes with the old turn twist fuses. Those are dangerous. Even the pushmatics, those are dangerous. You want to look for upgraded copper non-cloth wire sheath on your electrical. I know a few people who have had assets burned down actually because of the cloth wiring. And you think that, hey, I'm not going to touch electrical for a while, so it's no big deal. But if you rehab the apartment and you change one fan, one light fixture, that's messing with electrical, and even that one disturbance can cause a fire. And then 2 or 3, what people don't realize on brick buildings is brick buildings need maintenance. So when you look at the tuck pointing and it looks deteriorated, we all know when a building's falling apart, right? We could see it. The mortar's coming out, the bricks are uneven and falling out. However, there's a point between that and a brand new pristine building. So take notice, take focus on the actual tuck pointing masonry of the exterior of the building, because that's going to protect your asset from the outside in. So a lot of people, my first building, I didn't even realize it. I ended up, if I paid somebody, I probably would end up paying 15, 20 grand in masonry. But my best friend's father had laid brick for over 40 years. And he came out, we actually rebuilt multiple different corners of the above grade masonry at our first property.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So what is the best way for an investor or a homeowner or somebody to vet contractor? What's a couple of questions or ways that that investor can make sure that they're hiring a good, reputable contractor?
Sure. Number one, always trust your gut. Trust your gut, whether it's the initial walkthrough. Trust your gut when it comes to your relationships. I believe anybody that's entering into the multifamily space has already developed a sense of at least some type of emotional IQ to understand whether or not they get an off sense of somebody that they are building a relationship with. There's not any individual question that you could ask, but I would ask deeper second layer questions and see how they respond. If you're starting to get a sense that they are BSing you, or that they're trying to fumble across some type of excuse to tell you, or they don't really know what they're talking about without being transparent about it, that's something that's only going to be magnified while you're in contract and they're working on your building. John Kasman actually had a really great article where he talked about vetting contractors, and one of the notes there was always walk their job sites. Be mindful of where you found them. Start with the relationships first. Ask friends, family, people that have worked with other contractors multiple times and have heavy experience in what you're trying to do, and use their contacts first before you go and try to do a Google search, or you find some random guy on the street. But you could always vet their job sites. Pictures don't do justice, so I can't tell you how many different job sites I've walked into over the years I've been contracting, just trying to find new subs. Anytime I see somebody on the street bringing in drywall, I say, hey, are you working on this property? Yes, no. Cool. Do you mind, do you work for other people? Yes, no. Would you mind me checking out your job site? I'd love to come and see the type of work you do. I actually did it on my neighbor's house and got a great contact and referral from the guys that were working on the house next door to mine.
To use for yourself as subs.
Yep, that's
Cool.
correct.
Nice. That's always a great way to build your business too. Is that's how you build some of those other connections and referrals. That's awesome that that worked out. So let's shift gears a little bit. What talk about capital raising for a minute. What are some of your best techniques, best ways that you have found to raise capital?
So honestly, we're still in the infancy of the capital raising. So I'm going to be transparent with everybody. Don't have the years, decades of experience. However, what I do find and have found is your integrity, how you put yourself out there, your brand image, your brand marketing. I actually just had a podcast with Jay Scott where we were talking about this. And the thing that served me well is because I'm very passionate about my relationships. Everybody knew me as a stand-up guy, at least the people that liked me, right? So I'm a stand-up guy. I'm honest. I'm a great guy to know when you're on my good side. So the relationships I built, they always knew that about me. So when I transitioned my brand image to this now new RJ, the professional investor, they knew that I had the integrity of who I used to be. And now it's carried forward into my professional life. So when I'm out there marketing or talking about what I'm doing, people tend to gravitate back to me because they're like, RJ's always been a nice guy. He's always been great. So if I'm going to trust anybody when it comes to this stuff, I would definitely trust him. So it's your brand image, it's the way you market yourself, it's the integrity, and that goes beyond your image on social media platforms. It's deeply rooted in the core of who you are.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever try to be somebody that you're not. And if you are somebody that always tries to get over on people or puts on this facade, that's only going to carry you forward for an individual transaction for a short amount or period of time until your runway runs out. The best way for you to capital raise is to always have everybody's best interests in mind.
Mm.
You got to remember, you're doing this for other people. You're trying to solve a problem for them. You're not looking at it personally at, oh, I'm going to, get so much money on this deal. Like, your passion has to lie in helping other people. Um, Otherwise, you're not going to make it, and you're going to run through crowds, and people are going to see right through your facade. After, again, like I said, your runway runs out. So just be true and honest to yourself, and that's the best advice that I have when it comes to capital raising. I hope that helped.
Yeah, it helped a lot. That's really kind of focused in, and it's kind of funny how the conversation started out talking about passionate relationships, and kind of ending up talking about building deeper relationships, because those are the people that ultimately trust you, like you, love you, and wind up investing with you. So
Right.
just kind of interesting how we cycled through this
Yeah.
this episode, right? Hey, so listen, let's lighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I always like to ask, a couple of bonus questions of people. And, being from Chicago, what is the best tourist attraction here in the city?
Oh man. So my number one is taking the architectural boat tours. I
Okay.
love it. Um,
On a kayak or in the boat?
so I've only done the Sea Dog, which is the big speedboats,
Yep.
but I know they do them on the Windella and the big ferries, the big
Okay.
yeah, the larger ones.
Yep.
But when I was in corporate, when my clients used to come in town, I used to always try to book a architectural tour, because the individual hosts of those tours are responsible for understanding and educating themselves on the history of Chicago, and they talk about the history of Chicago throughout the tour. So whether it's an architectural boat tour or an architectural walking tour. I think the history of Chicago is so rich,
Mm,
and especially if we're involved in real estate and you have you love architecture, do one of those architectural tours.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, Chicago's a great city. There's so much to do here, and it's even so much better in the summer than the winter.
Yeah.
Hey, best book you've ever read?
I'm going to have to peg this on Mindset by Carol Dweck. Not because it's the best book I ever read, maybe per se, but because this is the book that was pivotal in adjusting my own mindset
Mm,
to think outside the fixed mindset that I can never grow, that I can accomplish. Um, it put me onto the growth mindset that I can achieve whatever I believe I can achieve. And Henry Ford saying, "If you think you can, think you can't, you're right." And that book Mindset helped take me outside of the fact that my own limiting beliefs.
nice, good for you. And then best restaurant.
Ooh,
I
that
always
one's
like this.
hard.
I always like this one from somebody from Chicago.
That one's hard. So I could tell you probably the most frequented restaurant is Triple Crown for dim sum in Chinatown. Um,
Okay.
you're not paying an arm and a leg. It's not a fancy restaurant, but it's some of the best um, food, Chinese and dim sum food that I feel you could get in the city.
Well,
So,
interesting.
and it's an experience because people don't go down there and don't realize how fun and good food it is, and how much of the culture of
In
how
China.
much culture there is in Chinatown.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the name of that restaurant again?
Triple Crown.
Okay.
Yep. The owners of that actually own Mars Brewing. So Mars Brewing is a good, um, local brewer that's in a lot of different of the bars and restaurants in Chicago.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been great. Any last comments or thoughts for the listeners?
Single day. Um, the affirmations are hard to do sometimes, but I try to do them every single day. And it all starts with positivity. So put away your phones. Don't get up. Don't look at your phone right away. Do a routine. Get in the groove. Put on positive mindset before you pick up your phone and experience any type of outside negativity. That helps in all things, relationships, business, whatever it may be. um, Always look at the positive side and be thankful for what you have. And it's a practice that you have to practice your entire life.
Mm,
And it's hard at first. And I'm still, even I myself struggle, but it's a daily routine, it's a daily grind. No matter what it is, stay positive and you'll get through it. So,
awesome. Well spoken. Thank you, RJ. Hey,
no
how do
problem.
people get a hold of you if they want to connect with you?
Sure. I'm most active on Facebook. So you could find me on Facebook. That's RJ DeLeon on Facebook. And the email that I use the most is contact@ejcpartners.com.
Nice. Awesome. And we'll have that in the contact records, and people will be able to reach out to you and get a hold of you if they need you to walk a property with them and
Yeah.
build a
Reach
relationship.
out.
So,
Reach out. Oh, can I do a shameless drop real quick?
yeah,
Shameless
go
plug.
ahead. Absolutely.
So I started my own podcast here. I'm going to have Mike on it sometime soon.
Okay, perfect.
It's RJ and Austin's Mindset Matters, because we truly believe as entrepreneurs and as people, no matter what you're trying to achieve, your mindset takes a heavy toll on whether or not you're going to accomplish what you're set out to do, or whether or not you are happy. or, have a positive outlook in life. So mindset matters. Doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Mindset definitely matters. You got to stay positive and keep your head up. So
Awesome.
thanks,
Great.
Mike.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Look forward to being on your show. Hey, I just want to say thank you for being here today. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you and have really enjoyed getting to know you over the last few months and look forward to continuing to build a better relationship. So
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just want to say thanks to all the listeners for listening in. Remember, we're here every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Central Time, Multifamily Unplugged, bringing relevant content to you to help you scale and build your multifamily business. If I can be of help or reach out, don't hesitate to email me or, like I said, find me anywhere on social media, just like RJ. And I will look forward to seeing everybody next Saturday. Have a great day, everyone. RJ, thanks.